We are fortunate to have a variety of speakers for Sunday services. By using guest speakers, we gain wisdom from all those who share. This is a church where you can worship the God of your own understanding, a place to experience joy and be uplifted, a place where we can gain strength and inspiration to share with all we meet throughout the week. We invite you to join us in this celebration of life, to nourish your spirit and to enjoy the company of kindred souls.
Amen. Yeah. All right. So at this time, we're going to sing our opening song, which is hymn number, our opening song is Let There Be Peace on Earth. You'll find it, it's number 3 in the Wings of Song songbook, or the words are on the white card if you know the tune. Walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. This a moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Do you have an invocation or do you... Come on up.
No, that's quite all right. We gather together today, perhaps to remind ourselves of one thing: to enjoy your existence in every way that you possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you. So at this time, we'll have hymn number 1, which is 111. Living abundantly. Great. So, welcome everybody once again. And this is a beautiful, a little bit less heated day. I like this kind of weather. So my name is Sue Brewer, and I am the president of the Board of Trustees. And our speaker today is Chuck Crom, one of our favorites all the time. His topic for today is embracing the power of your own choice. So that is our discussion today. Now, there are several things for announcements. The first one is, if you would like a meditation session or a retreat, Robert is at the ready and waiting for you to ask. So if that is something in mind, keep Robert in mind. And that's where we are with that, because he's on hiatus for the summer for the weekly or the monthly meditation retreats. On Monday, we usually have Unity Book Group, but they are also on hiatus. And if you have any questions about the Unity Book Group and what book they'll be reading eventually, Rick Yeomans is in charge. His phone number is in the weekly email. And we have Carol and Brooks and Carol Carey and anyone else that goes to it weekly. Or okay, well, if you can always ask them about the book group too. So on Tuesday, Sue Hall usually has the Law of Attraction meeting. But at this point, they're on hiatus for the summer, and if you want to talk about it more, Sue's right here today. And you can always talk to her or call her about getting a one-on-one, out to lunch, out to coffee, whichever you want to do, so she can tell you more about what's going on with that group. Now, the big news is Tuesday is the National Night Out night. I know we got an idea of doing this at kind of a late time in the year, because normally we would do it, get signed up for it earlier, but we are doing it whether we're late or not. So we're going to have fun. We have a barbecue grill that's ready to go. We're going to have, Barbara's going to do all the food buying, and that's ready. So we're ready to go with that. If anybody has a yard game that you think we could play, bring it along, because we have virtually nothing like that here. But Barbara's also going to bring some sidewalk chalk, so if there are kids, they can play with that, or adults, we can play with that sidewalk chalk too. And there's some lists downstairs for you to sign up on that list to help set it up. We're going to try, we'll see what the weather's like. Hopefully it's clear and warm enough. We're going to put some tables out on the street, and we have barricades. We're not going to block off the whole street. We need to keep a lane open for emergency vehicles, just in case. So we will be blocking off part of the street, but we'll have the grill, we'll have the food, we'll have the fun, we'll have the camaraderie with all of us, but we will need help setting it up. We will also need help with, talking to people about our great and wonderful church. And then also at the end, we will need to have some cleanup help. So please do sign up. And if you want to bring something, to share with people food-wise, you can do that too. So if you have any questions about National Night Out, please get a hold of me or Steve or Carol or anybody about that, and we'll talk to you more about it. And there's another piece to that I'll get to later. On August 9th, not only are we going to have a wonderful picnic, but Steve's going to be our speaker. I'll get back to that in a minute. But August 9th, our church picnic, we still have a list downstairs for you to sign up to bring whatever you're going to bring. For the potluck part, I know the church is going to be involved with donating, I think we did last year, we did meat and cheese trays, and we've got a ton of crackers downstairs that we can bring with us. We will be bringing chairs, and we will be bringing the sound equipment, and we'll be bringing other things along with us. We have a whole list generated for that, and so we will be bringing a lot of the things that you expect to see when you come to church, but there are also some things that you can also bring. We will be bringing some chairs from downstairs, but if you want to be a little more comfortable, bring your own chair, because it's probably a lot less cold and dark and dank on your butt as the metal chairs are. But we will bring some cushions if we remember. So there are all kinds of things involved with that. If you want to help us set up ahead of time, we would really appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Where's the location?
The location is at Lester Park Pavilion. So you go across the bridge of Lester Park and go up the road, and there's a huge parking lot, but it was pretty full last time we did that last year. But anyway, you could still park there, you could find a place. And yeah, the earlier we get there, probably the better. So any other questions about yeah?
It won't be broadcast.
It will not be broadcast either, right, that's right. It's too complicated to set up the equipment for all of that we need to do. So we're just gonna, Steve's gonna say his thing, and we won't have a chance to look back on it. So you gotta be there to hear what Steve's gotta say, because I think he's a really cool guy. And speaking of really cool guys, let's give Andrew a little hand back there for today, because he's worked so hard and we hardly ever see him. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, gonna wave. All right, so then now downstairs today, Pam is here to do our official readings for angel readings and stuff. And she will also be here on Tuesday to help us out with the National Night Out. A couple of other really important things to think about for the future is membership. We've talked about membership. We'll talk about membership every week until the elections in October, so get used to it. There's one way you can do this, part of it. There's a form on the back table. Whether you've been a member forever or this is your first time, you fill out the form just to let us know, number one, that you want to still be a member. If you've been a member forever or a few years or whatever, fill out the form just to make sure. And then to donate, we aren't asking for any amount. We don't do a tithing so that this amount of your income should come to the church. No, whatever you can donate is what you can donate, and there are multiple ways to be able to do that. One of them is to just give us a check with the form you fill out. One of them is the envelopes. We've got the envelopes here. We printed these out because some people thought that their donating during the regular service was paying for their membership. But it is now, if you have a choice. You want to make this donation part of your membership dues, this is how you do it. On the front, it asks you, would you like this offering to go towards your membership? Yes or no. You don't have to say no or yes, and you just leave that part blank. And then, yes, and would you like to become a member? If you haven't already been a member, you can always sign up this way. And you can give us a phone number or an email. And then, so this is one way. You can, if you want to give $1 every week instead of $120 or whatever, or how many days in the year? I don't know, whatever that is. So yeah, so you can do it like that, or you can do it all at once. And then also we have sustainer type of memberships. There are cards back there. These are sustainer memberships, kind of like with public television or public radio. So you can become a sustaining monthly member. It just you can make it come right out of your checkbook, so you don't have to even think about it, or your bank account. And we have a bunch of different options for the sustaining membership, and you can take a look at this later. But please, join us, be a member, sign up as a member. Give us a little donation, and we'll be glad to take that. Also, the reason why you need to be a member is in October, when we get to the elections, your voice will count. Your voice as a member is important for us. We need to have people signed up as members to be able to make votes on things that we need to do at the annual meeting, such as we need to have an annual report for the bookkeeping. We need the church to make an motion and to vote on it. Same thing with the year from last year. I have the minutes from last year. We will make a vote on that. And also there are some changes we want to make to the bylaws. We're going to have to vote on that. You guys, as a community, not the board, makes that choice. So there are all kinds of things. Plus, we have some open spaces for next year on the board, and we need people to think about joining us on the board. And then those elections, you have another voice once again. Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. So being a member has its perks, and just knowing that you're part of the group, but also because you have responsibilities to help us move forward with our church. So that's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so any other announcements before I move on to one last announcement. That's okay. So as I mentioned, Steve Plaza will be our speaker next week, and his topic is past dreams, guidance, or warning. I don't know about you, but there are times when I remember these dreams that I've had, and it's just like super vivid. And there are certain times when I have not known how to read them. I'm hoping Steve will give me a hand on that next week. All right, so that's it for the announcements. So let's move on and read our church principles. You will find the principles on the white card. Okie doke, here we go. We believe God is the eternal source and creator of all and is present in everything. Our eternal soul, endowed with free will, grows through many lifetimes. Communication occurs between the physical and spiritual worlds. Prayer and meditation strengthen our connection to the divine. All healing comes from Source. Seeking this for ourselves and compassion for others suffering is the highest priority. Because we are all one, what we do unto others, we do unto ourselves. The choice of love is always open for every soul. Living these principles leads us to grow in divine love. So now we're going to also at this time, on the flip side of the card is our prayer for spiritual healing. So we're going to read that prayer. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help and to restore them to perfect health. We put our trust in the love and power of God. So at this point, can I have somebody please bring forward the bowl, and do we have any prayer requests at this time? I know of one. Lisa Siri contacted a bunch of us about having had a cardiac event, and she went into detail in a very long text message, but it sounds like she's recuperating and things of, it happens to be a genetic thing. So hopefully we can help Lisa and her family to move forward and to be healed through this healing time. I don't know what else, anything else we need to mention about that? Okay. Anybody else have any prayers that they would like to share? Okie doke. So then what we'll do is, right now, we'll have Robert ring the healing bowl. We'll have a moment of silence, and then we will sing hymn number 74 in the silence, and then Chuck will do our healing meditation.
Hello, everybody. How are you? So today's meditation is going to be a little different than some of the things I typically do when I'm here. And so it's kind of geared towards helping you to focus, whether it's on dream experiences that you have, whether it's on odd body experiences that you have, anything that's like that. Many times you can return, from those excursions and not recall a lot of what's gone on there, not be able to interpret a lot of what's gone on there. And a part of that is a lack of practice, maybe I'll phrase it, in being able to focus within that environment. And so what's helpful in that, as strange as it may seem, is to pay more attention to how you focus in this environment. So we're going to use our 5 senses one at a time and gather information in ways that perhaps we're not used to doing. We're going to start with our vision, just because we use that in a very strong way. And so what I'd like you to do, and do it in a comfortable way, in other words, don't turn completely around or something like that, but just pick a spot, any place in front of you, to the side of you, whatever. Pick an object that you can just loosely focus on. And then focus just lightly on it, and then allow yourself to be aware of everything that's in your field of vision. And I'm going to give us just about 1 minute to do that. So just do that for a while. And try not to pay attention to your other senses, just the vision and everything that's in your field of vision. And as you pull yourself away from that, you can look at something simple, like have a look at the cushions on the pews. There's a variety of colors. There's the shape to the cushion, the edging around the cushion. There's a texture to the fabric that's there. There's the pew. There's a variety of colors. It's not just a tan. It's got all sorts of various colors that stand out. There's the structure of the pew. There's the purple that's next to it. I can see the mic stand, the cable of the mic stand. It's got a shape to it. There's all sorts of little details in what it is that you're viewing. And we're used to missing a lot of those details. We pass right over them. And so again, doing that is helpful. Next, and you may hear one thing more than anything else in doing this, but that's okay. And so because our vision can be so very strong, go ahead and close your eyes while we do this next part. And use your hearing and just pay attention to any sounds that fill this environment. And try to focus just on that sense. So as we do that, of course, the fan is the dominant sound in the room, but it has a different tone as it swings and moves in different directions. Perhaps you can hear the rustle of some of the things that is moving in the room. One of the things that I hear is the beating of my heart in my ears as I'm listening. I hear a little bit of the movement of individuals downstairs, not much, but just a texture of it. Next, let's move to your sense of touch. Many times, one of the least focused upon senses. And again, the idea being that when you're in states that are altered states, shall we say, you miss a lot of the information that's there because you're not used to focusing on the information that's around you. So again, we'll take a little time and pay attention to everything that you feel. So as you do this, if you're close enough to it, you of course will feel the air from the fan. Perhaps you'll feel your body as it presses into the cushion below you, the feeling on your butt. You pay attention to your feet and how your feet feel on the floor. Perhaps you might feel the socks, if you have them on, around your ankles. What your pants feel like as they grip your legs. How your shirt feels on your arms or perhaps your shoulders. If you wear jewelry, what's that jewelry feel like on your wrist or around your neck? Perhaps you have glasses on. What's the feeling of those on the bridge of your nose, on the side of your head as they wrap around behind your ears? Can you feel your tongue in your mouth? Are there any other subtle sensations? Perhaps you feel your eyes as they move. Perhaps you feel some of the hairs in your nose as you breathe in and out. There's all sorts of subtle things that occur that many times we don't even pay attention to. Our outer senses are a continuation of what you can perhaps call your inner senses, configured in a little different way to interact with this particular environment. Because they're a flow and connected in that way, practicing on focusing on the things that you sense here can help you to sense with those senses when you're in other environments. So it's something that you can play with and practice with to help you to gain more information as you explore environments that aren't necessarily this physical environment. So today I was going to chat a little bit about choice and the power of your own choice. But before I do that, however it is you choose to leave this experience, and at whatever time it is that you choose to leave this experience, there is no doubt of the experience that you will eventually have. You will become familiar with all of what you are. Believe me, that is the experience you will have. It is not in doubt. The transition process will be different for each individual. You may not even know in terms of time for a while that you've left this experience. You will create an experience very close to this and slowly give yourself clues that something else is going on. There's many, many, many different ways that will happen. So, as you live your life presently, and I've said this a number of times, really just live the life that feels fulfilling and natural for you to live. There really is, in that regard, no place for you to go. You are an extension of all the rest of what you are. You are all the rest of what you are. There's no goal to attain to. You really don't need to do anything here if you don't want to. The biggest reason why it's nice to do those things is because it can make this experience easier for you, more flowy for you. It can give you experiences within it that are nice. And I'll suggest to you that your exploration here, regardless of who you are, is really about one thing. Your exploration here. This is an environment that is quite unique to us. Because in this experience, we get to have the experience of seemingly being sequestered from the rest of who and what we are. Not actually disconnected, but the experience is as if we're disconnected. So it's a unique experience for us. So the idea is we're exploring this experience. We come in this dimension to explore this experience. And really, the part of you that understands itself as non-physical revels in this exploration. Now, it can be challenging within it, of course, but that doesn't mean that from that perspective, you're not enjoying all the moments that you're spending here, regardless of the kind of experience that you're having. So, many of you are familiar with speakers like Seth, and there are a number of those that have become familiar at various times. And not just through those individuals, but through others, you can become familiar that it is you that creates your experience of your existence. Because as that non-physical you, you have an incredible ability. You can think in terms sometimes of this podium that stands in front of me. It's made of, as far as we're concerned from this perspective, wood. But that wood, of course, is made up of what we call molecules. Those molecules, our sciences will say, are made up of atoms. Those atoms are made up of smaller particles. Those smaller particles are just waves that seem to pause for a moment to form what we consider to be a physical experience. Energy, consciousness, forming our experience around us all the time, perpetually. And so you're the one that guides that. And you guide it through choice. So basically the way this is going to work, and my understanding of this comes from an experience that I had before I became familiar with Seth, actually. I was standing on Skyline Parkway on one of the sides of Inger Tower where I could look out at the town to the west. It was a gorgeous day, I think in June, early June maybe. A nice breeze coming out of the west, and I closed my eyes and I was just thoroughly enjoying the experience, and my experience changed for me. I was familiar with this me. I was familiar with the me that was becoming this me, that was becoming all of my environment, the road, the trees, the grass, the wind, all the things around me. And I could move my perspective. I could know it all at once. I could know me as the me that was creating all of that. I could know me as this me, whatever I wanted to. And the part that kind of struck me when it was done is that it all just felt like me. It felt no different than how I feel right now, really. I was just having a different experience of that me. And then about a week later, I happened to be in the library in downtown Duluth, the main one, and there was a book that caught my attention. And that book was Seth Speaks. And in that book, of course, if you've read that material, you're aware that Seth expresses, through Jane and Rob, for many years, the concept that I experienced only a few days before that you're the one that's creating your experience of reality. And many other individuals have shared this with individuals around the planet too. So basically then, in that, you're projecting energy out all the time, every moment. And there are filters that you project it through. A number of those, I'm not going to elaborate on a lot of those now. The ones that you can work with and manipulate are your beliefs, what you believe to be true about yourself, about reality, about others, and there are many. And some things you don't even consider are beliefs. And really, basically, what they are is an explanation for us about how things come about within our reality. Because of our experience here, we're not aware that we're just creating an experience moment by moment by moment. We need an explanation about how it happens in all sorts of different ways. And so you're projecting energy out, and that energy is reflected back to you as your experience around you. And then, as that comes back, you're either going to choose or you're going to react. The more that you can choose in that moment, the easier you will find your experience becoming for you. However, of course, most of us have, in these terms, lived lives of some duration. And in those lives, we've had a variety of challenging experiences. Many times we respond or react in an automatic way as a result of those experiences that we've had. It can take some time in that regard to move beyond those particular experiences. And of course, that's understood. There's nothing, of course, wrong with that. Really, there is no, this doesn't seem to make sense, but there is no better way to do that. There is no way that's right or wrong to do that. Because again, the experience is meant to be had as the experience, even if it's a challenging experience, which can sound really bizarre. But think about the individuals who choose to scale Mount Everest on purpose and maybe lose a limb doing it, or die trying it, or go to Antarctica, or those people a couple hundred years ago who were the first individuals that tried to cross the Amazon jungle and perhaps died attempting to do it. We are explorers of that nature. We explore what is a complex dimension to explore. There's many things, many challenges, but we like to do that kind of stuff. And if we're aware of the challenges that we're having, I'm going to suggest to you that the information to move beyond the challenge is contained within the challenge. If you can give yourself the moment to pause and to listen to that part of you that will share that information with you, because all of us have those connections. So again, it's a choice to do that. Now again, really, in terms of this being an exploration and an experience, there is no choice in that regard. That's a bad choice. Because again, you're all familiar that in the next moment, you can make another choice. And then the next moment, you can make another choice. And it keeps going like that. If you think of your life, from the moment that you open your eyes, all the things that you're doing are as a result of a choice that you're making. Everything. You choose to get out of bed. You choose to get dressed. You choose to go to the bathroom. You choose to eat breakfast. You choose what kind of breakfast you eat. You choose what kind of plate to put it on, what bowl to put it in. On and on and on and on. The day is full of choices. Some of those choices don't have a lot of effect on your life. Some will have a greater effect on your life. Attempt, if you can, to understand why you're about to make a choice. Sometimes, with practice, you can reach into what are called the probabilities that lie as you make that choice, perhaps we'll say ahead of you, and you can choose which direction you want to go, depending on the choice that you want to make. That takes a little bit of practice, but you can do it. Some individuals are more adept at it than others are. But regardless of what the choice is, sometimes it's difficult to understand why it is you felt like making a particular choice until maybe a month or 2 or 3 or 4 goes by, and then it becomes clear to you why a choice that you made 4 months ago that didn't make a lot of sense now makes sense. Because again, there's an interaction between all of us that unfolds around of us. And sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to understand the role you're playing within some of those interactions in that moment. Because again, it takes practice to become aware of that kind of awareness. This is, I'll suggest to you, where becoming increasingly familiar with that at least a third of your life that you spend sleeping where you dream can be very helpful, because you will, in that environment, alert yourself to the choices that you are making in the next day that you show up here, within terms of time, of course. Now again, if this seems like too much work, don't concern yourself with it. It doesn't make any difference. Do whatever feels right for you to do right now. If you've walked this path for many years and you just want to spend the next 3, 4, 5 years or whatever it might happen to be relaxing your life or whatever, do that. Embrace that. Believe me, it's not going to make any difference. The result that you're going to have is the same as everybody else's. You will know yourself as all of what you are. You don't have to do anything here to get to that experience. It's your experience now. You just don't understand that it's your experience now. So if something captures your imagination, if you're inspired by something, if you like to follow a particular thing, if whatever way that you're enthusiastic about doing something, then allow yourself to do that. Almost always, that enthusiasm, that inspiration, that insight, that curiosity comes from either that greater part of you or individuals that maybe we like to call guides, friends of ours, that help us from that non-physical aspect of who we are, that give us little hints, little nudges about things to explore. And sometimes that's easy to do, sometimes it's a little more difficult to do. One of the things that I've discovered in this journey is that and I'm just going to call them this for the sake of the conversation, the negative responses that I got in my life had everything to do with the types of responses I expected to get as I made particular choices. As I embraced my life for the kind of life that I wanted to live and lived that life, all that stuff began to fall away, because I was no longer getting reflection back of that kind of energy that I was projecting around me, because that's the kind of environment that you live in. You live in a reflective environment of your own energy. Your ability is so far beyond what in this moment you're really able to comprehend, but you will know it at some point. Now, you may also be aware, and I'll kind of tie it up with this, that the time period that we live in is a time period that began, and you may not know this, approximately 126 years ago. In the advent of the 1900s, we began what people will call our shift in consciousness. If you look back at our 1900s, many, many, many things happened in our 1900s. It was much different than all the centuries before it. We've explored many things. We've created many things. We've changed our lives in huge ways. We've allowed ideas and concepts to come forward that we never used to. We set a foundation for now what we're doing in this century. We're inserting that transition of our consciousness in this century. And there are leeways now, ways to explore yourself that we did not open up to ourselves before this occurred. So you have much more that you can do with your consciousness. And really, depending on how you explore your consciousness, that can happen every day. But again, if that interests you, it doesn't have to interest you. It really doesn't make any difference. For those individuals that express themselves in the 1400s and the 1500s, the 1600s, where they lived just a regular life, they were farmers or butchers or blacksmiths or whatever they used to do, they lived a regular life, and then they went through that transition period, and again, they knew themselves as all as what they are. Because again, that's what this dimension, for most of the time that it's been around, was meant to do, to have an experience as if we weren't spirit, as if we weren't non-physical, as if the one time. In the way that you've desired to participate with it. You share whatever you share. You experience whatever you experience. And it's all fantastic because it's all your experience. It doesn't have to be a particular way. If you can do it in a way that feels as fulfilling to you as possible, it will be a little easier in that regard, even if you have to perhaps move beyond a little of your hesitations to do that. But it's not a wrong experience, regardless of the types of challenges that you have within it, because it's your experience, and that's what it's all about. And so with that, I'll tie it, and if you know me, you know this is the kind of stuff that I like to share, because it's inside of you. It's all there. And if you want to, you can access it. There's no teacher that you become familiar with, regardless of who they are, whether it's Buddha, whether it's Christ, whether it's Eckhart Tolle, whoever it might happen to be, that has more of a connection with those greater parts of themselves, we'll just call it that in this moment, than you do. The only question is, do you have an interest in accessing it? And how does that access work for you? Because that access functions differently with different individuals. You have different ways of doing it. Some people love meditation. Some people do it in nature. Some people do it in association with children. There's many, many ways that it can be done, many ways that you can allow that information into your life. And so if you haven't yet, maybe attempt to just allow that to come to you. Dream times, which Steve will explore next week, is again one of those ways that some individuals choose to do that. And in the way that I believe Sue said, you can have dreams that feel just like this. There is no need to translate the symbology. You know exactly what it means. You may even be meeting individuals of a guiding nature, shall we say, when you're in that environment. Some people choose that to gain their information. Some people choose to listen to channeled sources. There's many, many ways. Just try to figure out what it is that draws you. Sometimes you don't need to, because it just shows up for you in the way that it does. You don't really need other individuals to do that. So, as I always suggest, enjoy your life as much as you possibly can. Enjoy your choices. Make the choices that feel right to you, that feel fulfilling to you as you live your life. And be comfortable in your life. Make the choices that are comfortable for you to make. You don't have to strive in this existence, even though that's what we've come to believe. It's another one of the things that we're leaving behind as we move into this shift, is the ease with which things can occur for us. So with that, I'll say thanks a lot, guys.
All right, so at this time, could we have a couple of people bring forth the baskets for us? And we'll have a little music in the background there. Whoops. Careful.
I say this stuff there, though.
Yeah, that's right. Nope. Just give us a little prayer there, Jerry.
And so we are all together in the church where we can be the souls that want to feel God's light, compassion, love, peace, and joy. So feel your heart now. Imagine that you are feeling light, compassion, love, peace, and joy. And it goes through you, and you feel good. And now, feel that same light, compassion, love, peace, and joy for everybody here, that we are all together in a purpose of God's light, compassion, love, peace, and joy. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Oh,
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
There you go. Watch your head. Watch your feet. There you go. Okay, so at this time, we'll have our second song, which is
My life begins for me today.
My Life Begins for Me Today.
222.
Number 222. 111 and 222, right? Nope. So here we go. We have our church affirmation on the white card. And so let's read that together. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. As our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with the thoughts of all members of this fellowship, we attract the right ministerial leadership to our people, to our spiritual community, and we are grateful. Yeehaw! Would you like to do a benediction for us? I appreciate that.
When we choose to gather together in this type of a space, with this type of a theme, we allow ourselves an opening that sometimes we don't allow ourselves otherwise. Utilize the flow that you've created in this moment and carry it forward into the experiences of your day and your week, because that ability is there.
All right, so let's gather in our circle and sing our final closing song, which is God Be With You. If you need the words, bring the card with you. Zoom, no